I think we've exited the phase of this relationship with Snapdragon laptops where it was the honeymoon phase where everything was amazing, and we've exited the phase where it was like the after, and you're like, I don't know, maybe I made a mistake, everything's bad. I think we're past that now. We can look at Snapdragon laptops for what they actually are. Snapdragon laptops are not for everybody. They are laptops that are going to be for people who need crazy good battery life. Crazy good battery life, but don't want Mac OS. I get it, because I don't like Mac OS either. It doesn't work for some of the software that I want. There's a lot of negatives to using Mac OS. There are also a lot of advantages. However, there are people out there who want some of the advantages of an ARM processor, like crazy good battery, but need access to Windows here. This here is a 16-inch ThinkBook from Lenovo, review unit they sent over to me to review, so thanks Lenovo. If you guys watch my reviews, you'll know that I like the chassis of ThinkBooks. I find them to be incredibly premium. For example, this one has a metal lid, metal bottom. It does have plastic for the keyboard deck, but it's very premium. Awesome keyboard. My preferential or preferred keyboard on laptops is realistically this one right here. This laptop is really nice if you're looking for a 16-inch Snapdragon in a very premium chassis. I'm going to bring in another similar laptop. This is an IdeaPad 5 Pro. There are IdeaPad 5 non-pros that are not in this class. The 5 Pro here is in a similar class to the ThinkBook, being pretty premium overall. You can see that a slightly different color, darker on the ThinkBook, lighter on the IdeaPad. The IdeaPad a fair bit lighter in color. Size is basically the same, 16-inch on both of these, so they have the same rough footprint. Approximately the same thickness. Slightly different design language, but very similar in terms of how thick they are. Quite similar design. IdeaPad on the left, IdeaPad ThinkBook. So on the IdeaPad, we have it's a higher power laptop, so it has like a power in, for example. Right, a little bit of a different design there. I'll just bring that in, just so you can kind of see what the differences are, how similar they are to an IdeaPad. On the ThinkBook, HDMI on the left, 2 USB-C on the left, one power, one 10 gigabyte per second, so that's good for data. Microphone, headphone combo jack. Right side, full-size SD card. So this is leaning more towards a creator-style laptop photographer, people who are on the go doing that kind of thing. 2 USB-A and Kensington. So 2 USB-A, 2 USB-C. Nothing on the back. Nice clean package. Okay, so now we'll get inside the laptop. You do need to have one of these star style. Like that. And these are very structured laptops. So typically they're actually very easy to get into once you get that first little piece off. There's a look inside of the laptop. This thing has a massive battery, 84 watt hours on a Snapdragon. This thing is going to have probably the best battery life I've ever tested on a laptop so far. So that's crazy. Looks like it has decent speakers there. The higher wattage kind of that they design here for yogas and IdeaPad Pros and that. So those should sound okay. Fairly sparse in here, but again, it's a Snapdragon laptop. They don't have a lot you can do with them. There's no upgradable RAM. It's stuck to the motherboard. So the RAM you get is the RAM you get. Just be aware of that. 2242 size NVMe. I would prefer to see a bigger one. They could have actually flipped that around, right? Had the M.2 connector that way and have it coming off, and just put the screw on the board here, and then you can get a 2280. That's my primary negative so far. I understand RAM. I mean, I don't think I've seen a Snapdragon with upgradable RAM. Maybe it doesn't work. I've never seen one, or they just don't do it. So not very upgradable. You can upgrade the storage. That's it. Wi-Fi is on here somewhere soldered. So it's not upgradable at all, realistically, other than adding slightly more storage to that 2242. I would really like to see that flipped around so you could get 2280. So that's a negative. This fan is huge for Snapdragon. You have 2 heat pipes coming off the Snapdragon chip there, and a very massive fan, honestly, for a chip that's not going to run hot in the first place. So I'll bring in the IdeaPad 5 Pro that I've been using recently as a daily driver, just to show the keyboard differences here. They're more or less the same keyboard. The layout is the same. Trackpad is the same. They may look very similar, but you can see the texture of the keycaps is different here. This is actually a smooth texture, plastic, kind of like that. This is that rubbery one. I think I prefer the rubbery ones these days. They actually have slightly larger keycaps. The physical keycaps are a tiny bit taller than the IdeaPad 5 Pro. They have a little bit more cupping to them. whereas these are just flat. The layout is the same, right? They have slightly bigger keys themselves. These seem to be a tiny, tiny, tiny bit smaller than those there, but the actual layouts and setups are more or less the same. The only real difference I can see is the page up, page down location being slightly different there, right? Whereas these are embedded, and the trackpads are the same. The keyboard itself is a traditional ThinkBook keyboard, which means I'm almost certain I'm going to like it. It has reasonably short keycaps, but they're also not tiny. They're kind of just in the middle for a slower profile option. They do have a ton of travel though. Very good. Yeah, so it's very nice to type on. Give it a 10 out of 10. I just love this type of keyboard to type on. The rubberized kind of keycap gives a little bit more of a softer, lower tone when you're typing, whereas the plasticky ones have a higher tone. You do get a numpad over here. It's not a full-size numpad, but it is a full-size keyboard, so they just shift everything over slightly, give you a numpad there. These are very similar to things like the Yogas and the IdeaPad Pros. They're all very, very similar inside, very, very similar keyboards. If you like them, you like them. I don't know if people are going to like the numpad or not, but these are usually geared more towards, professionals, people who are doing business type stuff. So numpads make sense here. Okay, so we're going to look at the screen here. You can see it's nice and bright. At least you hope you can on camera. 1200p, it's okay. I mean, 16 inches, I prefer a higher resolution screen, 1600p or something like that. Not a big fan of 1200p at this size. I guess they do it because it saves battery. Some people don't care, so that's fine. It's only a 60 Hz refresh rate, so it's not going to be some stunning OLED screen. You can see the light here over my shoulder. I am leaving that on intentionally. I could move it off, but I want to get some reflectivity here. See what you guys can see out of this. The color space is okay. Again, not even 100% sRGB, so it's an NTSC, like 45% NTSC screen. It's okay. Again, not a big fan of it. It'll be enough for like school use, office use, right? It's not an ugly screen. Bring that down so you can see what I see. I actually do not see that reflection there, obviously. This is about what I see. So the blacks are really good, quite good, honestly. It's mainly just the crushed color space. It results in a little bit of like an orange color there, right? So it's a little muted on the colors. They're not inaccurate or wrong or anything. It's just that the color space is a little bit muted, so you're not getting the vibrancy in the greens and the reds mainly. Blues and that will look quite nice. It's just typically it impacts the reds and the greens, and especially the reds when you have a crushed color space a little bit. So probably wouldn't do this screen here for professional graphic design. That would be an area you don't want to go in. However, for just daily use, it's going to be more than fine. Even just generic media consumption, students, you're going to be able to keep your costs down a lot by getting a screen like this. And it looks okay. Honestly, it looks okay. It's just not going to be the most vibrant, vivid screen, some OLED beauty for graphic design or something like that. Okay. Oh yeah, it's going to get real loud. That's only 60. Oh wow, that's way better than I anticipated. Yeah, I mean, I should have known. ThinkBooks, generally speaking, had good speakers. This is kind of a more budget offering. I didn't anticipate them to be that good. Those are very good. They're not going to be on like MacBook level, or probably not as good as like the Yoga 9i Pro. They're not that good, but still very good. That's much better than I thought. So if you're listening to audio on these, they get really loud and they have great speakers, good bass too. So really happy with those speakers. We're in best performance mode. We'll see how quiet it is. I can hear it going, but the pitch is very low for a laptop fan, which is what I like to hear. My noise floor is about 33, 34. So even doing a CPU intensive task like a huge extract on a archive is going to be quiet overall. Okay, here we are under full load doing a Cinebench run. Let's check how noisy it is. So once it's under full true load, the fans are definitely producing more volume. However, they're not pitchy at all. It's a nice low, just kind of no air turbulence, just a nice low fan noise. Not going to irritate anybody, I don't think. Even under full load, if you're in a room full of people, it's not going to be troublesome. And temperatures are the same, maybe a touch higher, 63 or so. Right, so you're going to be sitting around 60, 65 under full load here. Looking at a couple benchmarks here, we can look at the Cinebench score to start here. This is Cinebench 2024 for ARM, and you can see we're getting a score of 517, totally fine. Looking at battery life, this is where things will start to get quite a bit more impressive. Just kind of hanging out here, doing some general browsing, moving around windows, some internet browsing and that. We're going to be burning around 7.2 watts. It's going to give us around 11, maybe 12 hours battery life, so very good. Here, watching 1080p 60 YouTube, it actually went down again because I'm not messing around as much once it buffers, and again we're moving around 6 or 7 watts being burned during this situation, and again we're probably going to get around 11 or 12 hours, so truly all day battery life. Unless you're doing some super heavy tasks like video and video rendering, you're probably going to get 8 to 10 hours here. Very good. The NVMe that's included with the device is very fast. Upper tier Gen 4 from what I'm seeing. The writes are a little bit slower, reads are very fast, so going to be very capable for even things like video editing. And the Wi-Fi is very fast. This is the worst area of my house with pretty bad Wi-Fi, and to date this is the best that I've seen in terms of my speed test here in this kind of bad area of my house. So very fast Wi-Fi apparently here, and very good reception here as well. Okay, here's a look at the built-in webcam. I'm actually running it right after I did a Cinebench run, so there's a little bit of fan noise. We'll see if that's caught in the video here. I don't have the best lighting, but it's also not terrible. It looks a little dim. Honestly, the camera looks a little dim on the front there. It's not doing any lighting up effects. If you like that or not, that's up to you. So you're going to need some decent light on the front. It looks like an okay webcam. Again, this is a more budget offering from Lenovo for the Snapdragon stuff, so it doesn't have the best webcam, but it'll certainly get the job done. It's fine. I would say it's fine. My time with the laptop is finished. What do I think about it? Well, it's a ThinkBook laptop, which means it has a really, really nice chassis. I like ThinkBook chassis. If you watch my channel, you'll know that. I like the ruggedness of them. I'm fine with the sharpness. In fact, I like it. It makes me feel like I'm holding a real laptop, something premium. You get some of the all-metal design that you get on something like a MacBook, but it's a little bit more industrial with that like kind of cut metal feeling to it. Outstanding keyboard, outstanding trackpad. The internals are fine. I don't like that the NVMe is a 2242. That is objectively stupid. It should just be a 2280. Flip it around, so that's a negative. Otherwise, it's a really nice laptop. So let's go over the negatives here. The screen is not fantastic on this model. I don't like 45% NTSC screens. They shouldn't be offered. Give us 100% sRGB across the board. Every brand. This is not just a Lenovo thing. I want to see every brand give us 100% sRGB as a baseline, as a society. That has to be the way it goes. 1200p is not my thing, but that's fine. A lot of people like that. It gives them more battery life and they don't really care about the finer resolution. For me, I'd prefer 1600p as an option with 100% sRGB screen. Be a nice thing. You could just check a box, throw $100 on the cost of the laptop, and you get it. I understand Lenovo has product segmentation. They're a company, every brand does. So they have the ThinkBooks in one category, and then you move up to the Yoga Pros, for example. If you want to get a similar type design, you want to get into crazy good screen, for example. So I get it. But as a consumer, I would like to see just a screen checkbox on there. Probably never going to happen, but it would be a nice thing to see. So everything's really, really nice. I guess the negative would be not more screen options, and that 2280 missing from the internals. Going with a 2242 is kind of an L. Just give us a 2280. Just flip that port around and it's fine. That's an engineering thing, I guess. So those are real negatives. Otherwise, it's fine. It's really cheap. That's another thing. These laptops buying in MSRP are low cost these days. Snapdragon stuff is actually coming down in price because the hype is over, and I think it's a good time to get into one if you're looking for a laptop that has truly absurdly good battery life but still runs Windows, and you're fine with some of the little tweaks and minutia that you need to get over when you're running with a Snapdragon in terms of potential software compatibility. Just know what you're buying, and if it works for you, it could be a great option for you to get into a really good laptop for a good price with good battery.